Hey, Susie, did you know that every single weekday between 1 and 2 p.m. we have our Central Indiana Scoreboard Show?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's like a ESPN radio sports center type show featuring mostly Central Indiana sports, Pacers Fever, Colts, IndyCar, uh, IU, Purdue, Ball State, plus the best high school sports coverage in Central Indiana. Again, Susie, in case you didn't know, that's every single weekday between 1 and 2 p.m.
Sounds cool.
It is. You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report podcast number 261.4. Tipton Tribune and Elwood call leader sports editor Michelle Garmon reacts to Alex Palou's continued dominance in his win at the Grand Prix Saturday at IMS.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Welcome, IndyCar fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report. Right now watching Alex Palou with his baby daughter in Victory Lane. And I am joined by Michelle Garmon of the Tipton Tribune and Elwood call leader to get her reaction to the Indy Grand Prix today at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Producer Susie is by my side and also watched the race with some interest. And Michelle, what we're watching is once in a lifetime.
It is. To me, Palou is just amazing. Just how dominating he is to start the season. He's, it doesn't matter if he doesn't leave for a while or if he's back. He always finds his way to the front over at least the last third of the race, pretty much. And I mean, he just once he gets there and gets that lead, he just only increases it.
What he did at the end of the race was fantastic. For those who didn't get a chance to watch it, Graham Rahal led the first 58 laps of the race. Clearly the best cars belong to the Rahal team today. But in the end, Alex Palou came from second place, was in second place most of the race, went to the front, won his fourth race in the first five. His other finish was a putrid second place. It's a more dominating start than anyone's ever had to an IndyCar season. And we're watching history right now. And I guess the question, Michelle, since it is May, is obviously he's the favorite to win the 500, but it's a different kind of race. What are your expectations for Alex Palou in the 500?
Well, the thing about the 500, what you always have to, the big concern I think there sometimes is the wrecks that you can get caught up in early before, you have a tendency to spread out. We've seen some first fourth of the races, spin outs and accidents that have taken out some good drivers.
Plus you have 6 pit stops. Something bad can always happen. As good as Ganassi is,
Yes.
the more pit stops, the more likely something bad to happen. But this guy is in a world by himself. And it's hard not to be impressed, not just with him as a driver, but the whole how in control he seems as a person, and it's been fantastic to watch. Getting a little boring watching him lead 90% of the laps this year, but it's also kind of cool seeing history.
It is, and I think he's one of those kind of drivers that is just a very likable person.
Very.
So him dominating is not maybe as annoying sometimes as others because he is just his personality is laid back but fun. He's just got the right personality. You hear him in Victory Lane or you see him in interviews, and he's engaging. And
Yeah.
so I don't, I think that's nice. The thing about the 500 is, and I know Hondas have, but a lot of times it's only been maybe a handful of years in the last couple decades maybe that Chevy has not done well at the 500. And and Penske, I think he always has a little added motivation for his drivers, or they have a little added motivation since he now owns Indianapolis Motor Speedway, that to go out and win that for their boss. But I just think if it's a clean race, and I think if Palou can start, and I told you before we started this, first row, he'll probably dominate. But I think if he's in the first two, for row 1 or 2, I mean, watch out. It's going to be interesting to see how he does in qualification. To see how he does in qualifications, and
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 let's
I know
not
you have different
forget,
setups for qualifying and for race day. You just hope the weather's nice. You hope that he's able to complete day 1, and get a good run in for the pole. So,
well, let's not also forget that there is a 2-time Indy 500 champion in the field, Joseph Newgarden, who will probably have something to say about it. One of the best to go around that oval in a long time. And he's going to have Pato O'Ward, who finished second in this race. I want to say right now, what a race today by Will Power. It didn't look like Penske had anything for Ganassi and for Rahal today, and for him to finish third, his 8th top 3 finish on this course. Unbelievable. He will also there are so many good 500 drivers in the field. As good as Palou has been, it would be hard to take him over the field, I think, because it's such a good field.
oh, I agree with you. Just because of that, and it's the Indy 500, and we know anything can happen at the Indy 500. We've seen good drivers who have been points leaders coming into Indy and not have a good month. Not have a good. Now that they've added the Grand Prix, if they do well in the Grand Prix, you can't say a bad month of
Right.
May. But in the past, before they had this Grand Prix, and they had the practice round and everything, we could see them come in and just have a bad month of May.
Right.
And there's
in 1994, in fact, Penske dominated the season that year, or 95. 1995 dominated the season that year and did not even make the 500.
Yeah, I know, and I know that was actually incredible, and
Yeah.
so I
think Bobby Rahal missed the field that year too, which was pretty amazing.
I think what can throw a monkey wrench into the 500 sometimes, there are some race teams out there that's what they devote 90% of their racing program to, is to being really competitive and strong in the month for the Indy 500. And
Ed
for
Carpenter
some
Racing.
guys, it's the
Ed
season.
Carpenter Racing being one of those, and they have Alexander Rossi, who's been very good at the 500. Expect those two to be a contender. You're right. Ganassi and Penske, they devote their program is devoted to the season. Ed Carpenter, teams like that, their entire program is for that 500.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they want to do well enough the rest of the season that they keep sponsorship and everything, but they know that if they go out and win or do really well at the 500, that also helps secure them sponsorship for, the next season. And, and that they have nothing to lose. I mean, they don't really have the money that Ganassi and Penske does, or the Ganassi and Penske can, they don't really have the same money that Ganassi and Penske Racing have to put forward to a whole season. I mean, those guys have a lot of money. Ed Carpenter Racing and some of those other smaller teams do not. So for them, the Indy 500 is the granddaddy race. So that's where they're investing their money.
And I think there are 4 elite teams now with Andretti and with McLaren, especially with O'Ward on that McLaren team. They're probably not quite on the level of the other 3, but they're getting pretty close.
Yes.
Let's talk about the finish of the race, Michelle. We did have our first yellow flag in over 400 race laps, which is just amazing. When I was growing up, when you were growing up, there were flags for engines blowing all the time.
Yes.
Yellow flags. And now we hardly ever see anything like that. 400 laps is just amazing. But it did bunch up the field at the end of the race. It gave everybody a shot at Alex Palou. And what did he do?
He just blew him away.
Just blew him away. Wasn't even close. There was no one else in the picture. And there were only 5 laps to go. By the end of the race, there was nobody else in the picture. That's
not
how
only
dominant he was, and it was something to see.
Yeah, and we give credit to him because he obviously is an outstanding driver. But there has to be a lot of credit that goes to his crew, his pit crew,
Yes.
the guys that oversee the setting up of the car and all of that. They are all on the same page, and right now they're just a level above everybody else.
I have
Their
a
race
feeling he
setup, their
has a lot to.
strategy.
I have a feeling he has a lot to do with the setup as well. I think he's got a great feel for his car. There's no doubt about that.
Oh
So
yeah, and he's probably very involved in the race strategy as far as sometimes the tires when they have to use the scuffed tires and use the fresh tires, and I mean he knows just when it's going to be best for him to do. It's right now it's a team that is so dialed in that it's it's kind of amazing.
it reminds me of some of those Mario Andretti seasons in the mid '80s when it seemed like he won every race. It's kind of in that category of dominance at this point.
Yeah,
Some
that's what I was thinking. I see Mario Andretti and even Rick Mears,
yes,
and even AJ Foyt, earlier at time. Those three drivers could have that kind of had that had the same kind of groove going.
absolutely. I think we saw a season where Bobby Rahal did it, where he won a championship and was dominant from beginning to end. But it hasn't happened a whole lot lately. Of course, Scott Dixon did it a couple of times. He's got a long way to go to be as great as Scott Dixon, of course. Another top 5 finish for Dixon. He just comes from out of nowhere every week. And he has just been an amazing driver for 2 decades now.
Yeah, and the thing about Dixon is what you can't forget about him heading into the 500 too is his
Absolutely.
opportunities of winning the 500 are dwindling. He's closer to the end of his career, and so he wants to get another one. So
I like his shot this year. I really think he's got a good shot. I think he's going to win another 500. It's just a matter of time. And you're right, he's running out of time.
Yeah, and he's got a great feel for the speedway, and that because of that, he's still
Always
obviously still a
competitive
really
in
good
it.
race car driver.
Never a year he's not competitive in it.
To me, he's the guy to look for. I'm anxious to see when they start practicing. I'm anxious to kind of see what the speeds are going to be like.
Also, don't forget that Castroneves is in this field, and that team's been really good this year. They've been competitive in some races. One of the teams that you talked about that focuses more on the Indy 500, and that's Meyer Shank, who he won with a couple of years ago. Don't forget that Takuma Sato is on a good team and knows exactly how to win the Indy 500. It's hard to say Palou against the field that you would take Palou, but we're pretty close to the point where, just even discussing that shows how great he's been.
I think, the question is going to be who is going to, because it seems like every year there's somebody, one of the top 10, crashes in practice. Hurts their chances a little bit or whatever. So it'll be interesting to see if that happens.
All right, well, let's talk about the Rahal team because it's been one of the lesser teams in the last few years. The results getting more and more disappointing by the year. But, man, do they come to race at the Indy Grand Prix because they had 3 of the top 4 qualifiers. I think they all finished in the top 12. I would be interested to talk to Graham Rahal and ask him what his emotion was about it. Was he disappointed that he finished 6th? Or was he having a blast trying to hold Alex Palou behind him for the lead because it's been such a long time that he's been in the lead?
Yeah, that would I would imagine that it's a mixture. I would imagine he's very happy that he led as many laps as he did, and he was probably very much enjoyed the challenge of holding off, Palou. But in the end, he's probably disappointed that he ended up 6th. That would be a little bit, but I'm going to guess he feels pretty good heading in to the 500, even though I know it's different because this was the road course. It's not the oval, but it's still Indy, and they have to feel pretty good about their cars right now.
Yeah, that's what we thought last year, and they were fighting just to stay off the bubble. So I doubt that Rahal will be a factor in the 500, but we'll see. I always
But
liked
were
Graham.
they one of the were they one of the race car teams though that had some bad misfortune, maybe hit the wall or something in practice or
They
something? And
they just had
I
a
can't
really
remember.
bad month of May after they won after they had the runner up and like top 2 out of 3 last year at this race. They had a really bad month of May and they were never a factor at all. So I doubt that they will be, but you never know. So we'll see what happens with them. It'll be interesting to see. Penske's not quite been the dominant Penske that it's been in a while. Be really fun to see what happens when they start practice on Tuesday, which is opening day. I believe that's just for rookies and a refresher. And then on Wednesday, it really gets going at noon. That's noon to 6. That's on Fox Sports 2, FS2. Thursday is also on FS2, noon to 6. Friday is Fast Friday, noon to 6 on FS2. They have the qualification draw right after. Then, of course, Indy 500 qualifying is Saturday and Sunday. I have no idea what the format is this year. It seems to change every single year. It does say top 12 qualifying is on Sunday, so I assume they set the field on Saturday and then have the top 12 on Sunday. And then the last chance qualifying as well. So that's the same as it has been. And then the Fast Six determine the pole from 6:25 to 6:55 next Sunday. And then the following Monday after the qualifying, this is new. They have a practice from 1 to 3. That's on FS1. And then Carb Day is May 23rd on a Friday. That's from 11 to 1. The Pit Stop Challenge from 2:30 to 4. And then the Indy 500 is Sunday, May 25th. It starts at 12:45 on Fox. Actually, the race starts at 12:45. The coverage begins, I believe, at 11.
They've added a lot more to the to the Indy 500 experience in the month of May. Made it,
They've
I
done a
think,
good
more.
job with it.
Made it more. Given the fans more opportunity to see some exciting things. Of course, change is always good and some things and everything. I just, you and I grew up in the days where you didn't have to worry about you. There was always going to be cut day. Cut day was always going to be dramatic because they would have 50 teams trying out for 33 spots. Nothing was guaranteed, and so the second weekend of qualifying back then was just, drama filled.
Michelle, the Indianapolis 500 is so big that we kind of ignored the fact that Alex Palou is 93 points ahead of the field in for the championship. We might as well just give him his third straight championship because that's what's going to happen there.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I think and you pray that this doesn't happen. I think the only thing that could keep him from winning, isn't it, is if he would have an accident that would take it, or he wouldn't be able to complete the rest of the season.
That's about it. You can't even imagine enough bad luck for this guy so good that anyone's going to be able to catch him. By the way, Kyle Kirkwood, second in the standings. Pato O'Ward, third. A lot of good, really young drivers in the series. We'd love to see that.
Yes, we do. Very much so. It's May's here. It's an exciting month in the state of Indiana, and especially with the Pacers city of Indianapolis. Yeah, the Pacers are playing. Yes.
Go Pacers. We will be talking more Pacers tonight. Thanks, Michelle. And thank you for listening so much. We always appreciate it. If you'd like to see us continue to grow and thrive, you can help us out by sharing these podcasts with your friends and family. I know you're thinking of someone who would enjoy this podcast. I know you are. Please share it. Thank you. Central Indiana Sports Report is brought to you by TG Media. And I love Susie.